This is the Frank and Friends show. Hi there, I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Kathryn Frady.
I remembered how to start the show.
Good job. I thought that was really strong.
I'm like, it's like I'm all warmed up.
That's right. The first one was just practice.
And everyone's like, why are there so many Frank and Friends shows in my feed all of a sudden? I thought he was like dead or at least depressed.
Sometimes it's a good tactic, just like start to flood people's, social media. Yeah.
I do appreciate that. Thanks a lot for watching, sharing, liking, subscribing, especially on YouTube, and of course on all the audio podcast apps as well, for buying our super fab merch at frankandfriendshow.com/store. This one looks like it's a football field, doesn't it?
Which is good. We just had Super Bowl, so.
Yeah, and let's see.
It's got Friends, which is
now
very
have
popular. Another one.
This is a popular TV show.
It is, and you have discovered that you still have a friend.
You,
so that's
I
good.
got a friend in you. All right, so maybe I guess we can talk some dirt. I was planning to do other shows during the. My friend Bean actually texted me, "Is this the longest you've gone without an episode?" I said, "No, I did have a crash and burn a few years ago where the same thing happened, where I couldn't
find any friends,
get any friends, and I know that there's people who have said they'll do it." Remember we did a video, you missed this on Frank and Friends, but we did a video for Marble City Opera on Instagram Live. And we got these comments from this girl, Katie, and I thought, oh, wouldn't you like to be on Frank and Friends? I am too afraid to contact her.
But she really wants to do it.
But I'm terrified to contact her because it's like asking a girl out on a date. I'm like, I only met her.
Do you want Whitney to ask her?
Yes.
Okay.
I sent her a note and tell her, you want to be on Frank's show?
Circle yes or no. Or maybe. Now, I used to pass those notes back and forth in church, so I know all about them. Yeah.
Now, my thought, though, is, on the one hand, when people come on the show and I don't know them, it just turns into an interview. And I can do that. I mean, yeah. But the point of this show is, I could interview you about your opera career every time you're on.
That would be a little much.
But I'm hoping that you'll come instead, not as an interviewee, but as an equal,
right,
and co-host the show and bring your own anecdotes and stories and the stuff that you do. You get it. You've been here enough times, as have some of the other regulars. And I was hoping to have one of the other regulars, but then she got sick and had other family issues, and then gets to the point where she canceled on me twice, and for very valid reasons. Perfectly. I mean, I can't, no fault of her, but then I'm like, well, then I'll just. Okay.
I know. You would never think that Frank was a shrinking flower.
But in certain circumstances,
you get, a little bit nervous.
I don't handle rejection well. So
when you're afraid of bothering people, and that's valid.
Well, I saw this guy Mitch. He's a good actor, and I ran into him at an Italian restaurant, and he said he'd like to be on the show. But I'm like, okay. But the funny thing about me is, because my schedule is wide and varied, when someone says to me, when do you want me to come? I'm like, I don't know.
You're like, whenever you're available.
I don't know. I can't pick a day. And then if I send them a date, like, hey, what about Friday the blah? Oh, I can't do Fridays. I'm like, well, then why did I ask?
So just flip it around on them and say, well, why don't you tell me? My schedule's pretty open.
Yeah.
Give me some options.
And I'll pick one.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the way it works. When I have to go to a meeting with Interfaith Health Center, I'm going to MC a thing for them.
Nice.
And we have to come and tour the facility, and we'll take you to lunch. I'm like, all right. And
free lunch is good.
Free lunch is good.
Yeah.
But instead of asking me when I'm available, they sent a list of 5 dates that at 11 a.m. on any of these following 5 dates. And I thought, this is great.
That's perfect.
And before I even had a chance to reply to it, Heather from Channel 10, who's going to co-host it too, she had said, well, these 2 work for me. So now the list of 5 is down to 2, and I look at the list of 2, and I'm like, well, I can't do that one because I'm getting my haircut or something, whatever I'm doing that day. But I can do this one. So it's done.
Love that.
It took the whole business took about 15 minutes.
That's perfect. I love that.
So that's what I like.
Yes. Organized.
It was nice.
Yeah, that's great.
So anyway, I'll be emceeing this super fancy event at Cherokee Country Club in April for Interfaith Health Center. And that's a good thing. What they do is they raise money so that people who don't have insurance or just can't afford can just go there and get a free doctor's visit. They've got doctors who donate their time. They've got, money. Right. They raise all this money to do that. They even sent me a bundt cake on Valentine's Day because what they have a fundraiser where you buy a bundt cake to be delivered to your Valentine.
Oh, nice.
Well, they sent me one, but somebody paid for it, and that money goes to fund a checkup for somebody at the Interfaith Health Center.
That's lovely. So you got a free bundt cake, you're getting lunch.
Two lunches, actually. Because there was the first lunch where I could tell they were going to ask me to do something.
That's good. You should always do that. You should always make people take you to lunch if they're going to ask you.
Okay. I guess, I mean, if I'm going to say yes, but the problem is I can't say no. So if I'm going...
You could, but you wouldn't necessarily get that lunch again, but... That might be it for them asking you. But.
Well, I know, but I mean is if I'm going to say no to the event, I need to know that ahead of time, so I say no to the lunch where you're going to ask me to do the event.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't want to,
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It totally does.
So I said yes to the lunch, and then I said yes to the event, and then I'm also going to MC the later in April. The week after that is the Friends of Literacy.
Right.
East Tennessee Writers Hall of Fame, and that one. I'm not going to say I feel stuck emceeing it, but I've done it multiple times, and not only am I the MC, but I'm also a member.
A member, an MC, an auctioneer.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to auction anything of that. It's easy.
That's
it's the Friends of Literacy, so they give you this beautifully written script.
Maybe they can write MCO.
There's zero mistakes in this script. You just get up there. And I mean, at one time I actually suggested, I said, well, do you mind if I say, in order for the punchline about this guy being dead to work, I need to say 2 sentences earlier, the late Terry Morrow. Is that okay? Can I change the script that way?
There's a punchline about a person being dead?
It's right up my alley, Kathryn.
It really is. Okay.
So I had to work that in there. So anyhow, so there's a couple things that are coming up in April, and I feel like there's something looming that I can't remember right now. But where was I going with this?
I don't know, but I kind of like to loop back to this bundt cake that you got for Valentine's and, all these MC gigs, because I feel like you got a Valentine from Marble City Opera.
Oh, yeah, I did get something. Well, yeah. Is that what that was?
It was on Valentine's Day.
It was on Valentine's. Were you behind this?
Me?
Or was Whitney? You mentioned Whitney, who's going to ask Katie if she'll come here and be on the show with me.
Well, so how it worked was we wanted to feature you on social media since you were going to be emceeing our event.
Well, I mean, the Children's Museum does that, and obviously the Writers Hall of Fame does that. They make a big deal about, one of our members is emceeing the thing.
Right, you should.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, why don't you use this fun photo of us?
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
It's from the fundraiser party 2 years ago where you're singing Glitter and Be Gay.
Right.
And you're pulling... Is this the one where you're pulling the beads out of your cleavage?
I think I'm crying in this one.
Okay.
Yes, I'm crying.
But it looks like you're...
Yes.
How does the song go? I mean, you don't have to sing the whole thing.
And ruby rings, But, I don't know.
But there's a part where you pretend to be crying. And you right? Mm-hmm. And I'm standing off beside because you've just dissed me in the thing. You just made some kind of...
Oh, yeah, a reference to a duke or somebody else. And you were the somebody else.
Yeah. So I'm doing some kind of like face. And we're acting. It was so fun. And you're doing the fake cry. And that's the picture that they captured. And in fact, it's on frankandfriendshow.com website or something.
It's becoming iconic.
Similar to that. So you use this on social media on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so I said, why don't you use this photo? You say something nice about Frank and that we're excited that he's going to be emceeing for us. And so
those were the instructions?
Those were the instructions.
Okay. The instructions were not, go so far over the top that he'll think we're being sarcastic and we think he's an idiot for wanting to be...
No. I was like, say something nice, about Frank and mention Frank and friends and tag them and,
Because I do want the publicity. I mean, some of these MC gigs, I say, well, I'll do the gig for charity, but also maybe, like you would with any of your other in-kind sponsors, you'd thank the TV channel that the lady works for, that kind of stuff. You give them a little boost.
Yeah. So Whitney then took the photo and put it into like Canva, which is like Photoshop, but you can, add to the photo and everything. And she added X's and O's and she drew a big heart around you or me?
Me.
Around Frank and
then because you're crying over there,
and
they drew an arrow to you,
and it said, "Me, if there was no Frank Murphy." She did send it to me for approval.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
you were in on it.
I was aware.
I mean, because there's the
it was
top,
hilarious. Yeah.
and then there's over the top.
Yeah,
and this was
so
over the top.
Yeah.
But
Fabulous.
you know, I like the attention. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I can't ignore it. I mean, yeah, sure, it was a little bit of a joke at my expense because I do ask to be featured on these social media posts. But yeah, I got my comeuppance, is what I'm saying. But it was funny.
It was good.
It was funny. People seem to like it.
Yeah.
People seem to understand. I know technology is changing so fast. It's so frustrating to me to try to make a story on Instagram because they won't shut up. If you pick a song and it just keeps playing until the point where you just want to stop, you just want to delete the post and not do it anymore.
Right.
I've learned to turn the volume down. And I even watched, here's Instagram tutorial number 16 on how to make a story. And it was so complicated. Well, first of all, you drop a letter O, and then you erase them, and then you shade the whole thing this color, and then you erase this part to make it clear. And then you take this and you put a disco ball and you put click here. And I mean, you can do a lot with it. And this lady was very good at it, but I don't have the patience for it, just in general, for some of these things. And I mean, I thought I was fairly technologically savvy. I used to be, but I'm losing a step. Like my own personal website, I got notified that they're migrating the DNS servers to some other thing and all this stuff. So it means my email is gone for a couple of days. I'm unreachable by email. And then I have to figure out not only how to do all of these things in the instructions. You know, you've got to go notify your domain registrar that we've changed basically the directions on how to send people to your website.
Right.
It's not, the hosting company has changed its name. Everything is different.
Oh, it's the worst.
So I'm thinking about, I'm actually thinking about going to one of the local web companies and asking them if they can help me.
Yeah, I mean, that's
It's worth
the
paying.
thing.
It's worth paying.
It really
for
is because I kind of go through the same thing. I was working on transferring James's website over to a new domain, and because the website designer who originally built his website and originally built my Soprano website is no longer, in that business. Yeah. And because I have been hosting some websites, Marble City Opera, Opera Louisiane, Frank and Friends Show, Kathryn Frady, like all of these other websites, it was like, oh, well, I'll just build it and I can host it.
Yeah.
But there's just like...
But I'm paying for it, right? I think I paid...
you're paying for it.
I'm paid up, yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I'm trying to transfer it over.
Yeah.
And it's just impossible to figure out how to get, it linked up correctly. And I'm just like looking at it and reading everything and trying all of these different things. I get on the phone with the original web designer and he was like, oh, you just go here, and you click this and you're done. And
that was all it was.
Yeah, but they knew exactly where to go and where to look. And that's the trick.
When I was working up in the TV studio in Pigeon Forge, there was a kid there who was real web savvy. I gave him $100 to upgrade my website, and he made it look pretty. But I don't know now. I've kind of basically lost control of it. I don't know how to update it, and it still has the previous podcast on there.
Right.
It's got a bunch of stuff that's outdated.
Right.
I mean, at least on the Frank and Friends show site, I know I can do the bare minimum. I went in and I rewritten my bio for Friends of Literacy, and to update a few things because I made myself, the TV station made me head writer of Scholars Bowl. I'm now head writer.
Nice.
Well, it's true. I mean, we figured.
That's great.
I was researching what would be how do you describe what it is I'm doing on this show? I'm not just standing there reading the questions.
Writing all of the questions.
Well, I'm more like the writers send me the questions and I review all of them and I change them if necessary, but every one of them is going through my eyes.
That's awesome.
For writing. Now, granted, if there's a math mistake in there that I miss because I didn't do the math right, or if it's got the wrong atomic number on an element and I don't notice it, then we're screwed. And that's but then we've got judges, a team of judges who then review the questions after I have screened them. So the answer came up I read some blog post about a guy who used to write game show questions. He said, well, you have a head writer and you have a writing staff. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's what I am. I'm the host and head writer. So in a long story short, which is too late,
now it's long.
I updated my bio to include that and a few other things. So I went on the Frank and Friends site all by myself.
It's amazing.
And put the new bio in there.
Well, that's why I like the Wix, websites because they're very user friendly.
Now also on fun1059.com, they use a company that one of the station's owners runs. It's called AIIR, and it builds websites and apps for radio stations specifically.
Okay.
But it's also, if you're going to build an app that a thing that a radio station employee can figure out how to use, it's got to be pretty user-friendly. So I was also able to update my bio on that all
Nice.
by myself.
That's impressive.
But I couldn't do it on frankmurphy.com because I somehow lost the ability to do that because I don't know what the kid did when he updated it, and now
You probably have to write to him and ask him to update it, or
Yeah.
to transfer it to
well, he never
your
responded
control.
to the last
Yeah.
text I sent him a couple of years ago, and I can't handle rejection.
That's right. So it's done. Yep, it's over. Well, that's kind of why I ended up taking control of my Kathryn Frady Soprano website, because I loved what the designer had done, but I needed updates, every 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
And you pay for each one, and she had many other jobs.
Yeah.
And so getting a hold of her was quite difficult.
Yeah, the same thing with it. Yeah, this guy was a sidelight for him. I gave him $100 and he knocked it out in a few minutes. But then he was done with it. He didn't have time to go back to it and tweak it and finish it the way I wanted it. Mm-hmm. Oh well. Well, on the technology though, you use I want to say the S word. So you use Siri for things?
I really don't. I'm like one of those weird people who still doesn't ask Siri for anything.
Oh, okay. Well, I do.
Everything on my own.
I don't mind to use, especially when you got the AirPods in. Then it's very convenient to ask Siri to make a call or to.
I do answer phone calls from Siri.
But it comes on and says, "So Frank Murphy is calling. Do you want to answer?" And you say yes
say
or
no. Yeah.
Because she knows how I am with rejection. I see her for the first time in weeks, and she's like, "How come you never call me?" I'm like, "Because I'm afraid you won't answer."
I always answer when you call.
Not all. Well, I guess
Most of the time.
That's how infrequently I call, because usually when I call, it's a crisis. Kathryn.
Well, that's when I call you too.
That's a good point. More that way. You generally call me at a crisis. If I call you, it's like, "Hey, aren't you driving 8 hours today?" I just thought maybe I'd call and talk you up. Well, we also have the Amazon Alexas in the house, and I'll use either or. Depending, like a lot of times I'm looking up the year that a song came out. Is that a 60s song or a 70s song or an 80s song? I need to know, especially the ones that are like right on the cusp.
Right.
Like, I remember I was still in high school when that song came out, but here it's classified as an 80s song. So I look at stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
It's little minuscule stuff, but I tend to do that a lot. I tend to talk to the machines a lot. Besides, I'm home alone all day. Well, Jere we said something. Jere says something. She tells Alexa to do something, and her phone speaks up. Her new iPhone. We got her updated on the iPhone. Her new iPhone said, "This is Siri. Did you asked for the wrong assistant," or something to that effect.
Oh.
I thought that was super creepy.
That is creepy.
Because if we have both, in fact, I can't believe that they both haven't started lighting up. I'm trying to say the word fast.
Right, so it doesn't listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that it ignores it. It'll still turn up in the log like, this command was not meant for this machine.
That's so weird.
Uh-huh. But the iPhone lit up and responded when Jere was asking the Amazon Echo, the Alexa, to a question or to do something. And the iPhone's like, well, you asked
Well, what about me?
And I thought, that's guts. I mean, who programmed that? Because I thought they only responded to the wake-up word of their name.
Well, they're listening to us the whole time so that they can hear their name, right?
Well, it's proof. I mean, isn't that proof that if now they're listening for other AI names?
Right, and they're listening for, if we said, you have an Express bag over there, so if we said Express, then we would get ads.
Okay. Yeah, that is
so that is
kind of fun. Like when Sarah Roberto was here, we talked about my love of canned mackerel.
And then you started getting
She started getting ads for canned mackerel. I haven't gotten any. I don't
Well, that's a shame.
I know.
I didn't recognize the voice who was saying it.
But I think she uses TikTok and I don't. So she was getting TikTok videos about canned mackerel. And funny. I thought, well, we all know.
Yes.
And then with the AirPods, which also make you more dependent on the voice assistant, we went up to see the kids after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, and at somewhere along the way, Jere lost one of her AirPods.
Oh no.
Isn't
That's
that
the
awful?
Worst. I thought I lost mine and I found them in the washing machine.
Did they go through the wash cycle?
They did.
Did they survive?
Yeah, they did.
They're more durable than
you would
people
think.
think. Yeah. Now I haven't lost any of mine yet, but I'm anxious about it. Like I'm afraid to go to the bathroom.
You might drop it in there with your wedding ring.
Oh. I did drop my wedding ring in the toilet, didn't I?
Once upon a time.
Well, one of the reasons I tried to lose weight is because my wedding ring was too tight.
So you were taking
So
it
I
off.
was wearing it on my pinky because it was hurting, and it's very loose on the pinky. So I'm in the bathroom at the Tennessee Theater, and I'm ready to start, and there it goes right into the toilet.
At least you noticed.
Yeah.
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 So anyway, you don't want to drop
it went
your AirPods
kerplunk,
in there.
and I had to reach in through the soiled water. But anyway.
Still traumatic.
It was a stand-up job, so it wasn't that bad. But so I'm worried about the AirPods falling into the pool when I'm bending over to clean the pool, or when I'm in the sink. I started washing my hands like this, so that I don't have my over the sink. And Jere actually recently dropped an AirPod into the sink, but I bought these little drain things from...
Oh, that's good. So it just went into that.
Yeah. She was so worried about losing a ring or an AirPod down the drain that I bought these little, just little screens like you'd find in a restaurant or a store, and it saved us an AirPod. But on the trip up north, it's gone. We can't figure out, and it tries to tell you, last seen, in front of Megan's house.
It tells you where it was
Well, no,
last
it gave
seen?
us the address, and the address was Megan's house.
But that's good.
Well, but it lies. Jere had one. She came home the other day, and she's looking for her AirPods, and she gets the notification on her phone that it was last seen at church. She's thinking, "Oh no, I got to drive back over there." I said, "It lies. It lies. Look in your car," and they were in her car. Because were you on the show when I talked about the dentist?
The dentist, yes.
It told me they were here in the house the whole time, and it told me they were at the dentist.
Yeah.
And it lies.
Yeah.
So that I don't understand.
That's a problem.
I'm going to have to just disable the whole Find My AirPods thing.
I wonder if it just needs to be updated.
The only thing that's good about it is it does remind you, usually, when I get about 10 minutes away from the house, it normally comes on and says, iPad left at home, left behind, and AirPods left behind. And now, yes, I know I left them at home as I don't want to lose them.
Right. But it is helpful to know in case you don't want them. Yeah. Now if only they could come up with this sort of technology for my house key.
Well, it's called a AirTag. You put an AirTag on it.
Well, I'm going to need one because I walked out of my house to walk Sasha, and I walk Sasha at like 10 o'clock at night.
You're talking about in Louisiana?
In Louisiana. And I always
Well, that's when it finally cools off, Kathryn.
Well, that's
you can't
right.
go outside
It's humid during the day. You just can't. I mean, I'm not going to melt while I'm out there. So
you got to wait till 10 p.m. to go outside
right.
and walk the dog.
So the whole neighborhood is asleep. I'm outside walking the dog. I always lock the door, though, just out of habit. Because
of course you would.
It's late at night. So I put the key in my pocket, and I'm walking Sasha, and she does her business, and we go back to the door, and I don't have my key. But I had locked the door.
With the key.
With the key. So I knew I had it. And I keep just one key next to the front door for this purpose specifically.
Yeah.
So it's not like on like the rest of my keys with my car key and everything like that. It's just the house key. And I'm like, oh my God.
It's a magic trick. How did you do this?
How did I do this? Where did it go?
You must have dropped it while you were walking the dog.
While I was walking the dog. So I decided I would check the back door. So I went in.
You could trade in your dog for like a bloodhound.
Right? And then she could find it.
That'd be good.
So I went in the back, and there's like a small yard with a gate and everything, and I could get into the backyard. And fortunately, this time the back door wasn't locked also. So I could get into the house through the back door.
But the key is still missing.
But the key is still missing. So I went out. I got the dog inside, and I started looking for the key. I was retracing my steps, but it's dark outside. There's no lights.
Do you have a flashlight, maybe?
I had a little flashlight on my phone, so I'm just
that's not that strong.
It's not that strong. So I'm retracing, going everywhere. Get back. It takes me 20 minutes because we went on a pretty decent walk.
Yeah.
Get back in, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to have to change the locks now because now I'm terrified that my key is...
That the boogeyman is...
Yes. So the next morning, I was like, okay, well, I'll look when it's light outside. walking Sasha before I go off to work. Of course, she doesn't want to go the same way. So I walk her, take her back in, get in my car. I'm like, I think it's going to be next to this one house. Like, where it's dark, it's either there or it's in this open field.
Yeah, I got to teach you the St. Anthony prayer.
And I hop out of my car and I run and look in the yard, and there it is on the Dolly Parton wooden keychain.
Oh.
Sitting in the grass.
Near your house.
Not near my house.
Near this other
Across
house.
the street, a few doors down and up next to this person's house.
How did you know it was there?
She had to go. That was the only place where she didn't stay on Sasha.
The dog, not Dolly Parton.
Where she didn't stay on the sidewalk. There were
Okay.
only 2 places where we were not on the sidewalk, and it was once on this house next to the side of their home and in this big field.
Oh.
So I knew it had to be in one of those places.
Well, I'm glad you found it.
I know. That was
Saved you a lot of money on a new locksmith and
Yeah,
everything.
but I'm going to need some technology for that.
Well, I was reading about AirTags, because in this movie show that we watched, this Harlan Coben show that we watched, they hide AirTag. Everyone's hiding AirTags on the other person's car. It's like,
How big are the AirTags?
I don't know. I think they're about the size of a quarter. I don't know how thick they are.
Yeah.
But they're hiding them on cars so that it makes it part of the excitement of the show to tell when you're following somebody or when you're being followed or whatever it is. But I saw an article about that because I guess, Siri and Alexa knew that I had expressed some interest, some curiosity about it. So it gets pushed up to my feed. And it says, here's things you can put it on. Put it on your key tag. Put it on your child. Put it on your pet.
Put it on your child.
Put it on your elderly grandparent. Put it on your car, or put it on. I'm like, well, then it got to the point. I'm like, this is too much.
Yeah.
I don't need to put an AirTag on my car or my wife's car. I mean, I don't.
That seems like a little bit intrusive. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just something about it just struck me as I maybe on your keys. I remember before all that, I used to have a key tag that was supposed to help you find them, but it would. It was just a beeping key tag. Like you'd have 2 of them, and if you got close enough, you could make it beep.
Yeah.
But the technology was so primitive that it didn't work very well, and I gave up on it.
Yeah.
And I guess AirTags are more.
Yeah, James had one of those beeping ones at one
Accurate.
point, but they were like quite
Big.
Big.
Yeah.
So it's like.
It was stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I remember when Timmy and Artie were young, and we took them to the zoo, and I thought, well, I'll put one of them on the boys. And Artie just kept hitting it. He thought it was hilarious. He would run somewhere and then push the panic button to make it beep on me. I'm like, well, what's the point? It's not gonna.
It's like, I'm here.
Kids, he was like, just how old was he? He must have been like 5 or 6, and he'd already outsmarted the technology. Now, this is the wrong one. I was trying to come up with a clever segue into, like, you wouldn't need to put one on your casket because it's not going anywhere.
That's true. We're not going to lose you when you're in the ground.
Bonezones.com, don't forget the S, is Dr. Bill Bass, who is doing well at 95 and a half years old. Had a nice conversation with him. In fact, I did say that I would go to lunch with him soon, so I need to follow up on that.
That's wonderful.
I was too depressed to pick a date. like
That's sad,
I didn't want to get rejected. I'm like, hey, Dr. Bass. But no, he said, give me some dates that you're available. So I'm like, oh, that's too much pressure. It's too much pressure.
Just pick all of the dates.
That's what I'll do.
There you go.
I'll say, here's the Monday, here's the week. But then actually, the way I have this conversation with him, and then I look at the calendar, and it's like the 1 week a month where everything lines up. You've got the haircut and the chiropractor and the first Friday and all the things.
And all the MC gigs. And,
yeah. So I'll pick the week after that.
Yeah.
Maybe my wife will come with me while she's on spring break.
There you go. That'd be nice.
Death's Acre is one of my faves. It's nonfiction, tells you the beginnings of the Body Farm and some of their great cases. There's another one called Beyond the Body Farm that's nonfiction. It's got the Big Bopper in it and others like that. Or the fiction books, Carved in Bone is the first in the mystery series starring Dr. Brockton. And when you buy them from bonezones.com, you do get them autographed by the great Dr. Bill Bass. So you can have them personalized too, because they do, even though he's pretty much done with the public speaking, they still go to his house and have him sign stuff every so often. Here's I haven't brought out the souvenir skull paperweight in a while.
Oh, I like the skull paperweight. It's very nice. This one is also signed by John Jefferson.
Oh, so fancy.
Very fancy.
Yeah, he's not in town very much at all, but we certainly, if he comes to town, we'll get him to sign some stuff. So if that's important, I guess we'd have to mail it to him. Well, anyway.
It's possible.
This one is a Dr. Bill Bass signature on the silver paperweight. So much fun. And I still want to do
It's a
that
nice
thing
weight,
with your death opera.
I know, we need to
Get talking on that.
get talking on it.
Well, you know what you should do, Susan. You know what you should do?
Susan.
I think we'll have a it's Citizen Kane all of a sudden. I think we'll have a picnic, Susan. No, you should contact Susan. Is what you need to do. Contact Susan at bonezones.com.
Don't forget the S.
And you can hire me to come do a presentation.
I have to wait now. Hold on. Back it up just a minute. I have to call Susan to
book me.
to book you.
Yeah.
But we're talking right now.
Well, I'm doing the sales pitch, but you gotta talk to the closer.
I'm asleep. Okay.
You think I can book my own speaking engagements, Kathryn?
Oh my goodness.
You know how I am about you know how I am about picking dates. You and Susan.
Frank is too fancy to talk to the likes of me.
No, it's just I don't want to.
I know, no.
I can't take her.
I'll talk to your people.
Susan.
I'll talk to your people.
Susan, help me, Susan. I know she
I'm
watches
Kathryn.
this. All right, here's what we're gonna do, Kathryn.
Oh my goodness.
Here's what we're gonna do.
Tell me.
I had a general manager in radio who talked about crystal and brick.
Okay.
Now you are in a position where you're both. I don't know how you do it, but somehow you manage to be both crystal and brick. I cannot. He said, the DJs, the air talent, they're crystal. You need them for the, to put them in the window, and they're an important part of the operation. Mm-hmm. They draw business in and whatnot, but they're too delicate. The salespeople are the bricks.
Gotcha.
The salespeople can take rejection. The salespeople can take no from an advertiser, and it doesn't discourage them because they're a brick. They just go to another advertiser and another advertiser, and so on and so on. And they can withstand the rejection of the brick, whereas the crystal breaks.
Oh, yeah.
So,
in order to be a soprano, you have to be crystal and brick.
that's what I'm talking about.
You just have to. But, I learned that from my dad because he told me no every time I asked him anything. And I just kept asking. Hello, can I go do this?
And that's when you found the car keys on your own.
That's right. Make it happen.
Well, we'll get it worked out. I'm exaggerating a little bit for the purposes of the program.
Sure.
But
another story.
But the idea that I had for the presentation would involve Susan and the Bone Zones crew being there and selling some of this death-related merchandise.
Would be cool. That'd be really cool.
So that I can't just decide what day they're doing it. They have to be involved.
That's true.
Bonezones.com.
Don't forget the S.
You don't play any. You don't waste any time. You're a woman on the go. Busy.
I play some game.
Any video games?
The only game I really play. Well, there's two different kinds of games. One of them, and I always play them before I go to bed because it helps me calm my brain and go to sleep. One of them is really Scrabble, and I play versus myself. Scrabble. It's called Wordmaster, but
is it like it used to be Words with Friends used to be a thing? Yeah, that's different.
You can do in this one you can do what they call pass and play, and so you don't have to wait on a computer to be or somebody else. You can. Just
so it's regular. It looks like
Scrabble. Okay. And I just play myself. So
all right,
I'm I and K.
Okay.
And I play a word and then I play another one. So that one I do, and then sometimes this is a very fun. I don't know if you have ever heard of this app. Where is it? It has disappeared from my phone.
Okay. Well, I can tell you about the ones that Jere, my wife, actually she gave up some for Lent. She was doing a whole bunch of games, and she'll do this where she sends the scores to our son and to her coworkers and to her sister, but they can't give up on Wordle. Right. That's the one where you've got to guess a 5-letter word, 6-letter word, and you only get 5-letter word, you get 6 tries maybe.
And you get a new one every day, right?
Yeah. And everybody in the world gets the same word.
Right.
And it's a big deal. But something about that game doesn't appeal to me because I love doing the crossword puzzle.
Okay.
It's in the same app, but I like doing the more complicated, but the bigger New York Times crossword puzzle, and I've got my streak going of 2,000 some odd
that's awesome.
Days in a row. Jere's up to 1,500 days in a row.
That's amazing.
So it's just something. Especially for older people, they say it keeps your brain sharp.
Right. Exactly.
But there's another one they've added to the New York Times puzzle app, and it's called Connections, and that's kind of like the new hot thing. But I like Connections. I like it better than Wordle. I don't know, because Wordle, I just thinking up a word out of nothing, it doesn't appeal to me. Trying to just come up with a word out of thin air, and then it turns into Wheel of Fortune, I guess, by the end. Some letters are right, some letters are wrong.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't call to me the way the Connections connected with me, because there's a British game show called Only Connect. Now, when Connections came on the scene, everyone's like, oh, this is an exciting new game. Who ever thought of this? I'm looking at it. It's like, that is ripped off directly from this British game show called Only Connect, where you have to find the pattern in these 4 things that they give you. And there's different levels of it on the TV show, but at the end of the game, when you make it to the finals, they give you this wall of 16 things, 16 words, and you have to find the 4 sets of 4, which is exactly what you do on New York Times Connections.
Nice.
And that, to me, is kind of a fun
That sounds fun.
Game,
I think I would like that. You know, the name of it's kind of similar to, there it is. It's called Impulse, the app that I play games on, and they actually call them trainings. But they have all of these, you know, different, there's like memory games, and it's all with the purpose of like trying to improve
your mind, your brain.
Yeah. So I like those kinds of games. You know,
well, Jere said that she gave up some of the ones for Lent during the week, but she'll still do them on the weekends.
Okay.
So maybe what's the one from? Is there one that you do the best, or
the one that I do the best,
or the one that you go to first? What's your go-to?
Well,
the memory building.
I do like the fresh item, but I also like ancient numbers. On ancient numbers, it's very weird, but you just pick the number, and they're all spread out all over the place.
Oh, so hold this up for a second. It's like a honeycomb, and you just have to identify the numbers in order?
Yeah, but they're all spread out, and you have a time limit.
Okay.
And you have like 5 rounds to get through in 2 minutes. And they get increasingly harder, so you have more numbers on each level.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun. You're trying to like race the clock, and I have beaten it before.
Because I, generally speaking, I have an aversion to video games. Like the ones, Artie, when he's here, they want me to get on the TV and play Mario Kart or something like that.
Yeah.
And I get motion sickness from it. I don't like it. And I just, something about the games that just, I don't know what it is. I have a bias against them. And everyone in my family plays them except me. So nothing I can do. I can't, except go do something else. But maybe I can buy one of these new robot toy dolls from Japan.
What in the world?
I don't know if I want to steal the picture. I guess if I do this, I don't know how I can even show that to you.
Yeah.
So it's this creepy looking robot, right?
There it is.
I'm trying to show you there on the camera. And the odd thing about this robot, it's a toy robot from Japan. And it's made by a company called Folo Toy, Folotoy, right? Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. They tried to make it this, I guess, generic American-looking guy in robot land. And they gave him a name. They gave him an American-sounding name.
His name is Frank Murphy.
Come on.
You have to have one of these.
No, I don't.
But it's you.
Well, I mean, it's not me. I mean, there's a lot of other Frank Murphys in the world. There's a cartoon character named Frank Murphy.
This is great. Frank Murphy, an AI toy figure created by Yompi Planet in partnership with Folo Toy. Adapted with an in-house designed AI chipset. That's nice.
Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
I mean, what are the odds?
It also says that Frank Murphy is designed to chat in 6 languages, including English, Chinese, and Japanese. Well, I mean, I think that's great. That it's designed to chat.
That'd be a skill.
Yeah.
I thought so. I have
Murphy
these,
is designed to chat. Just take that part out.
Because of my vanity, I have, which is one of the 7 deadly sins, I'll point out. Because of my vanity, not only do I want
killed you yet.
to be featured by Marble City Opera in your posts on Valentine's Day, but I also have a Google News alert for my name.
Nice.
Do you have one?
Of course you do. No.
Why not?
I don't know. Should I?
Of course you should.
I'll be alerted every day.
Yes. Well, I get these alerts because every time the name Frank Murphy is in the news, and 99.999% of the time it's not me, as it turns out.
Really?
Because, well, there's a football player named Frank Murphy who just got some new position with a charity, retired football player, He's got some new position as the head of a charitable organization for youth in sports. I'm like, oh, good for him.
Nice, yeah.
There's a dead Supreme Court justice named Frank Murphy, and they've named a building after him in Detroit. So every time there's a murder trial at the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice.
Nice. That's
Frank
good.
Murphy Hall of Justice.
That's a good one. I like that.
I get notified. And there's a rugby player. There's all these people all over the world named Frank Murphy. Now I get notified that there's an AI toy from Japan.
How tall is this AI
Yami
toy?
Planet. I don't know, but I think it's like about a...
Life size or?
No, I think it's like a foot tall.
Okay.
Maybe. It might say somewhere in the article. But, I mean, it's creepy as heck. So...
You should send them like an image that they could, of you, that they could turn it in and say, thank you for using my name. But now, if you really want to be able to use my name.
Have I told you that one of the things we did, I don't know if this is I guess I'll put it in my memoirs, it's not that big of a secret, but East Tennessee PBS does have a recording of me that they can use and manipulate to get me to say things that I haven't said.
See?
So I don't know if that's technically AI, because I don't think it is. I think well, maybe it's partially AI. AI, my son doesn't even like the phrase AI. He says it's called computer learning. But what they can do is, if they need me to say, no, that's incorrect, or yes, that's right for 20 points, or something I didn't say.
They can make it.
They can just type it and put it into this software. And I have recorded, like the lady who did, her name is Susan something, she did the voice of Siri. She didn't know what she was being hired to do. She was just asked to read this
dictionary, basically.
Yeah. And I read this script. It was a half hour it was like a nature film, and they just had me read it. But I read it standing on the Scholars Bowl set, wearing the Scholars Bowl microphone, so that everything matched.
Interesting.
And now they can take that recording and manipulate it to get me to say things that I should have said, without making me go back over there and re-record it.
And they have a visual of you saying it.
They do not.
Oh.
They can't. So there's not a deep fake to that regard. So they can only use it when I'm off camera. So they have to cut to something else.
Gotcha.
And then Robo Frank comes on and says.
That's kind of cool, though. There was a character on 30 Rock that.
But also the rules. You don't want to change you have to do it so that the outcome of the game is still the same.
Right.
It's only like little tweaky things. If I screw it up that royally, well, then we have to take other steps. But you were saying there's an episode of
30 Rock where Jack Donaghy they discover that he has actually recorded all of, like the dictionary or whatever, and so they can make him say all of these ridiculous things. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but yeah, it's pretty funny.
Well, they used to do that with political figures too. They would go through their speeches and get them saying all these different words, and then edit it. But usually it was very jumpy, and they did.
You could tell
because they want you to be able to tell that it's fake. It's a joke because it's supposed to be funny, but now
they don't want you to know that.
Right,
it's
that's
fake.
different. Deep fake.
Yeah.
In fact, remember that Harlan Coben story I told you about? There's also a deep fake involved in that.
Uh-oh.
Dun dun dun.
Ta-da.
So
we need the hamster.
Oh, dramatic.
Dramatic hamster.
I think he was really a squirrel, wasn't
Was it a squirrel?
I mean, they called him dramatic hamster, but I think he was actually a dramatic squirrel.
It was, yeah.
All right. Well, I can put a stinger in if you'd like, if I remember.
Right.
So either you heard it or you didn't. All right. Yeah. It's not like my, many of my podcasting friends, like especially Bean, he's got his soundboard, and he's just, as the show goes, he's able to hit all those in. I have to remember to go back and add it later in post because
you're the sound man and the video man and the producer and the head writer and the...
I had dreams when I first started this podcast of buying some expensive, beautiful, those microphones, the Electro Voice, the silver one. I have one of them.
Oh yeah, those are.
But I was going to buy another one. My plan was to buy two and have them on mounts and record everything on a Rodecaster.
That would be pretty fun.
Well, we need more subscribers, and I need some more money in the bank, but it's not impossible. I mean, I bought all this stuff that we are currently using from the proceeds of, Bone Bones buys an ad or somebody buys an ad.
Yeah.
That's where I got the camera and got the other stuff.
That's good.
It's just a matter of, I went that route first.
Right.
So we could do the road shows, as opposed to making everything set up like the other podcasters. You see what they have, the huge microphone in their face while they're trying to do the show.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get the fancy looking one, like the Elvis mic.
Those are pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so that might still happen.
Okay.
If we raise money. All right.
Raise money for the Frank and Friends show. We could do a Frank and Friends show drive, like a PBS drive. Yes. Absolutely. We can have like little acts come in. We can get David Crawford to come in and do like some song. You can like crooning.
As long as it's in the public domain. Just make sure it's in the public domain.
We can make up our own songs. We'll do some tap dancing. Yeah, we can answer fake phones or real ones. Call
Were you here
in.
when I made up a fake theme song on AI?
Yes.
Well, one of my friends, who's a writer and a songwriter and all the things, she called me out on it. She says, how dare you use AI to write a theme song for the show when you know all of these creatives? You should hire them to do it. I'm like, well,
we were just joking.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we were part of it. Where I was trying to joke that it was not that good. It was corny. I made it to the point where it was too corny. I wouldn't.
Yeah, no, it was just fun.
But
yeah.
I mean, I guess I could. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing where I get back to this. Was I understand that people want me to do work for them, but they don't want to pay me to MC. They want me to donate my services, but how can I turn around and I didn't ask Jody to donate his services. I paid him to draw the logo. I wouldn't ask someone to donate a theme song, I don't think. I'd have to pay them.
You could. I mean, if somebody offers, it's different.
Well, because they could make it, if it would benefit them somehow to say, this is my song, and if they can use it to their gain, then I would totally be into that.
Yeah.
Because as long as, then it's my, you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
I'm going to get James to write you a song. It'll be great. It's done. It's completed.
Okay,
I'll have like a theme song.
Yeah, but he calls me Uncle Frank.
That's because my mom started doing that. How's Uncle Frank? I don't know why. It just, anyway.
Because she met me.
Sure, yeah.
She met me once. And
once upon a time,
She probably realized that I'm older than her.
I don't think so.
I don't know, Kathryn.
I don't think
it's
so.
Probably close.
I don't think so.
Thank you so much for watching, sharing, liking, and subscribing, especially on our YouTube channel. Maybe that's one way that we could buy the stuff that I'm dreaming of. Another way is, and we did get a little extra money in the coffers at Christmas time from some merch sales. Bruce bought a hoodie, not a hoodie, brought a crew neck sweatshirt, and somebody bought one of the glasses and some other stuff. Anyway, it's upside down. Here, it's switch.
Where are the friends?
There you go.
There we go.
I love the towel. It's one of my. I keep holding it up because it's my favorite. But it's all nice stuff.
It is all nice. I mean, this logo is great. Jody did great work.
The looks good on the hoodie version or any of the sweatshirts, the t-shirts, the whatnots.
And you get whatever color you want. That's the great thing.
I picked red because this was a size thing too. Depending on I bought that during the lockdown when they had limited colors and sizes, but that's moved on. So you can get good stuff at frankandfriendsshow.com/store. And if you love the audio entertainment like this, our show is on Audible. You can listen to it that way using the Audible app on your phone or on your Amazon Echo or whatever. When you go to audibletrial.com/frankandfriendsshow, you're also sending a couple of bucks our way just for taking a free 30-day membership. That's part of the deal is we get a little bit and you get to try it out for 30 days and see if you like it. And during that 30-day premium membership, you get an MP3 download that you keep forever. And then if you continue, every month they give you a credit for an MP3 download, which we recommend you doing and saving some books on your device so that if you're in a plane or you're somewhere where you don't have cell service, you can still, listen to something while you're outside doing work. You don't have to burn up your data plan. You can just listen to the one that you downloaded. All right. Well, that's audibletrial.com/frankandfriendsshow. Thanks a lot, Frady. I appreciate you for coming over and chatting me up.
It's always a fun
time. Back to Baton Rouge for you?
Back to Baton Rouge.
Will I ever see you again?
I don't know. It's debatable.
I'm pretty sure.
You can try calling and see if I answer. I'll be back in the spring.
If I call you right now, will it come up on your phone as Uncle Frank?
It will not.
All right. If I call your mom right now, I don't even know.
I mean, she doesn't have your number.
Good point. Nor do I have hers.
I don't know about James's. It might come up as Uncle Frank.
Great. Fantastic. Have a great show. Have a great day. Have a great time. I'll see if some of the others co-hosts want to come in while you're out of town. Or another thing I wanted to spend money on was that remote, a way to get better microphone to do a...
Yeah, so we can do a remote show.
You can be in Baton Rouge and I don't have to go there.
There you go. See? Exactly. Although you should... Oh, well, is Bean still in New Orleans?
He is about to move back to England. I'm going to have lunch with him in Tennessee on March 18th.
Okay.
They're headed... They have a plane to catch in New York. They have this special plane they travel on that lets you bring your dogs.
Pets, right?
Yeah. So, but that only flies from New York to London, and it leaves only once a month. So they know what day they got to get to that plane in New York. And driving up from New Orleans, he routes the trip through here, so I get to have lunch with him on his way.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Well, you could come up the week before they move.
Yeah,
go to
come
New
up.
Orleans.
You mean down?
Down, yeah.
Go south
down,
too.
up, left, right. It's all the same.
It's a miracle that you're here
Going
today.
around. It is a miracle. I didn't have a GPS.
GPS
so.
wasn't working, and I'm like, Kathryn, do you remember how to get here? No.
I just, I did know how to get here once I got to the highway.
Oh, good.
I didn't know how to get to the highway.
All right.
From where I was.
Oh, good golly. Thanks again. It's the Frank and Friends Show. I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Kathryn Frady.
And we'll talk to you again next time.